Happy Thursday, everyone. Jo here of SportsGrid. We have 12 games on the slate, so we're going to try to go over each and every one of these games as fast and thorough as possible. There's so much happening right now with all of the trades because we've got so many games to go over. Really hard to talk about these, but to note the Florida Panthers, I do think this team is going to continue to acquire strong assets. We know they got Vladimir Tarasenko, and I tell you, between the time we did the Puckett show yesterday and that game kicking off for the Ottawa Senators, it seemed like no one was playing out there on the ice. So we have a ton to go over as the dogs start barking here. Or the dogs barking on the ice, we will definitely see. Let's look at the first matchup here. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Boston Bruins. Now, we know this was just a rematch of what we saw on Monday night. Monday night, the Boston Bruins rolled into Toronto, getting a nice 4-1 win. They absolutely limited the Toronto Maple Leafs in that one. So looking at the lines for this one tonight, I'm just going to pull them up, and I'm seeing your comments coming in here. There's always one leg of the parlay. Robo coming in here with Patrick Kane destroying that parlay last night. Let me know who destroyed your parlay. It's kind of like, who hurt you? We should almost do it like a Who Hurt You Friday for who hurt you during the week and who you're kind of going to kind of stay off for the weekend. But Matt, let's make some freaking money. Jimmy, good to see you here as well. Okay, so the Toronto Maple Leafs taking the Boston Bruins. Toronto rolling in at plus 120 on the road, minus 144 here for the Bruins, and that total is sitting at 6.5. Now, we know the last game got to 5 goals because Toronto was very limited, but Boston was able to go over their team total of 3.5. So the under 6.5 coming in at minus 132, plus 108 to the over. It's going to be war out there. My problem here with looking at Toronto is Boston has been so phenomenally strong versus the Maple Leafs. They've won the last 6 meetings, including that meeting on a Monday. And I do think we're getting such a short price on them here at home. It's hard to say no to Boston. Now, we've gone against Boston in some of these cases at home because I haven't liked their current form. This matchup here is something I really do think we're going to see the best out of both of these teams in this game. Joseph Woll also, he is in net for Toronto. Now, Toronto started Samsonov last night, which was a huge indicator to me that they didn't think they could win versus Boston. Starting him last night versus the Sabres, they ended up picking up the win, but it went to overtime, 2-1 into overtime. I really do think with that goaltending that we saw last night, this was Toronto's way of getting points last night, not thinking they could get points tonight. And that's a scary team to bet on. I don't want to bet on them here. These are two teams of the original 6. And I think Boston at home, minus 144. How can we not lean on them here on the money line? I do think if you're looking, though, at Toronto, Austin Matthews for that anytime goal, so much value at plus 110. Now, he really gets up to play the Boston Bruins. He scored in 7 of the last 9 meetings with Boston, totaling 10 goals in those 9 meetings. So I do think Austin Matthews comes out at plus 110. I'm willing to take a little bit of money and put it on his player prop there for the anytime goal. And then Pasternak for the Boston Bruins. You can look at his points. You're going to have to take that 2+ points. I do think there's value there, but the anytime goal coming in at minus 120. I think he does get on the scoreboard. I don't trust Joseph Woll. Now, Joseph Woll's numbers are okay, but he is returning from an injury. He's got a 2.83 goals against average and a 914 save percentage. So I'm seeing the goals come in on him. Now, this is a battle of the Atlantic, so I'm not going to do anything with the total. Toronto is currently trailing Boston by 7 points only. It's nothing at the end of the day. I do think these teams can force this game to OT, though. We know how many games Boston has forced to OT. The problem with Boston forcing games to overtime is they've lost 15 games in OT and games they should have won. We look at how many times the other opponent was able to get back into the game, and then Boston lost it in OT. So I think at plus 360 for overtime, 3 of the last 4 games have gone to overtime. That Monday was the exception when they did play last. So I like it there as well. If I had to take a side or a total, because I do think it has the opportunity to go overtime, I'd go the over 6.5 before I would go to the under, because I could see this being a 3-2 game, someone getting that extra goal, and this one being tied up, going 3-3 into OT, which of course pushes us over the 6.5. You are reading my mind, Matt. Yes, I absolutely think overtime in this one. Okay, don't bet sit out yet. Sidney Crosby in a huge game tonight versus Ovechkin. So, Sean, while these players, you might not cash on them every night, what I suggest is they go on hot and cold streaks. When they've had a couple cold ones, don't get off them because it's just a matter of time before they get behind that. The Sharks, yeah, the Sharks, I tell you, that game was absolutely insane, Adam. Okay, we got to move fast here, you guys. So many to go over. I am on Game Time Decisions at 6:40, so make sure you join me in an hour there. We're going to look at the Montreal Canadiens taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, we've got a massive favorite in the Canes lines right now, -1 or -320 on FanDuel for the Carolina Hurricanes, +255 for the Montreal Canadiens. Total is at 5.5, juice to the over at -142. If you're willing to take this one under, you got to think Montreal won't get on the scoreboard. That's coming in at +116. Now, the Carolina Hurricanes have played so strong versus Montreal. They have won the last 14 meetings, and they cover that puck line versus Montreal as well. Montreal's only covered the puck line in one of the last 6 versus the Carolina Hurricanes. So this looks like an easy game to just bet on Carolina. My fear here with Carolina is Frederik Andersen, returning from injury. Could we see that quick goal out of the Montreal Canadiens on him as he gets his feet under him? We absolutely could. We know he's only played, 5 games so far this season. We haven't seen him out on the ice since November. Goalies can go either way in this situation. He's got a 2.87 goals against average and a 894 save percentage. Sam Montague on the other side. We don't trust Sam Montague. I know I trusted him for a while. He's just fallen off. He's just not himself out there from what I would have expected out of him. So he's got a 3.15 goals against average and a 904 save percentage. When I'm looking at the Montreal Canadiens, I trust them in the first period. I'm going to take them on the puck line in the first period, plus a half a goal. That's coming in at -136. If you're brave enough to take them on the money line in that first period, it's going to pay off. Could I see them winning the first period? Absolutely, I could. I just look also. So we got Frederik Andersen returning from injury. We have the Carolina Hurricanes off a loss that it's haunted them. Let's be honest. They played the Jets and they were up, and they allowed the Jets to come back and get that win. So Carolina's been off since that game. That was last Saturday. Scott Wetzel and I were sitting here on the grid, and we saw that breakdown of the Carolina Hurricanes. They are going to be coming for fire, but Montreal, they pushed the Predators to overtime in their last game on the road. It was a 4-3 win. That was on Tuesday. I could see something coming out of them in this first period. Now they're 10-0 on the puck line as a dog off of overtime. So this team has been strong coming into games. I think their strength comes in that first period when we wait to see Frederik Andersen get his legs under him. So give me the Montreal Canadiens puck line first period only, plus a half a goal at -136. I probably will put like a third of a unit on Montreal on that money line as well. Now, when we're looking at Montreal and who's been really impactful ever since the trade of Monahan, Nick Suzuki has been absolutely phenomenal. He's like right behind Austin Matthews in goals. Anytime goal for Nick Suzuki, all the values there. We talked about Austin Matthews. He's +110. Nick Suzuki, almost as hot as Austin Matthews. He's +330. Now, it's going to take a lot to get past this defense of the Carolina Hurricanes. We know how strong this defense is. So the line makes sense here for me, but I can't help but put a little bit of money on Nick Suzuki in this one. Especially when you look at the Carolina Hurricanes, the amount of penalties they're taking in their offensive zone is disgusting. The players even saying so. So I can't get behind a really strong first period here for Carolina. Should they win it? Absolutely. Are they the better team on paper? Absolutely. Do I want that money with Montreal straight up on the money line in the first period? Absolutely. Let's look at the next game here, you guys. We have the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Edmonton coming in at -300. The Columbus Blue Jackets at +240. Puck line in this one, you're getting the Columbus Blue Jackets plus the 1.5 at +110. The Edmonton Oilers laying the 1.5 is -134. The total is 6.5. Now, the juice has been going up during the day. On the over 6.5, it's now at -150. I do think this one is a higher scoring game. But I hate that juice. I originally took the over 6.5 when it was -144, I want to believe. Well, that's kind of like at the top end. As soon as we start hitting that -150 mark, I don't love it. If you can get an over 7 with great value out there, I would definitely look at it. I would also look at doing something here if we see a super high scoring first period, taking the under, or a super low scoring first period in this line, dropping, taking the over, because I do think we have an explosive period. I'm just not sure it's the first or the second. Depends on when the floodgates open. You know how these two teams roll, especially Edmonton once those floodgates open. Now, Tarasov is in for the Columbus Blue Jackets and Pickard here for the Edmonton Oilers. Now, Edmonton did win this matchup back in January 4-1. So if you just want to look at Edmonton's team total, I don't blame you. We have the Columbus Blue Jackets sitting 8th in the Metro. They did win the 3 prior meetings to the win by Edmonton in January. So Columbus has played Edmonton hard, and they've also won the last 2 in Columbus. So we have had home ice advantage here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're off a loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. We have Edmonton rolling in here off a very big win versus the Boston Bruins in overtime on Tuesday, 2-1. So could this be a letdown spot? This absolutely could. I'm not taking a side because of it. And plus, I don't want to take the puck line here on the Edmonton Oilers to win by 2. I think this is another 4-3 style game. So it was minus 142 actually earlier in the day, the over 6.5. You got to play around with some combination of that. I think Edmonton's team total definitely does come in cashing in this one. We know Tarasov hasn't been strong, 3.58 goals against average and an 891 save percentage. So there's a weekend back-to-back here for Edmonton. So it's Thursday. They have the Sabres on Saturday and the Pens on Sunday. So it shouldn't be too much of a look ahead. But could Columbus pull this off? I don't think so. I can't even get there with Columbus. Let's look at some of the players you want to circle. Connor McDavid, 2+ points in this one. You definitely want to circle Bon Jenner here and Johnny Gaudreau for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Gaudreau's been absolutely phenomenal. 45 points in 62 games, and he's on a point streak. He's had points in the last 3 games. So looking at Johnny Gaudreau to continue getting those points, I do think is strong. Now, also, they acquired forward Alexander Nylander from the Pittsburgh Penguins. And since he's been with this team in February, he has 4 goals and 6 points since joining Columbus. So he has been playing strong for them. Connor McDavid has 99 points on the season. Tonight will be his 100th point. So I would take him definitely for the 2+ points. He's on a 12-game point streak as well, 2 goals and 26 assists. Let's just look at what he is tonight. For his 2+ points, he's going to hit 101 tonight. Getting him on the power play is at +115. Now, that is a nice way to go because the kill here of the Columbus Blue Jackets is only 76.4%. So the power play point I like for Connor McDavid. The 2+ points for Connor McDavid's -142, way too juice. Let's see what he is for 3+ points because we got him the last time we took him at that. He's coming in at +130 for 3+ points against the Columbus Blue Jackets in a high-scoring game. Absolutely sign me up for Connor McDavid, 3+ points. I actually really love that. And I haven't bet it yet. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to put that in at +230. It is worth a couple dollars on. Okay, let's look at the next game on a deck here, you guys, if I can get my FanDuel to get back to it. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Florida Panthers. I mentioned the Florida Panthers and how much of a buy team this team is right now, getting Vladimir Tarasenko from the Ottawa Senators. I think this team isn't done, and I think they're going to continue to build their depth here to make a true run for the Stanley Cup. They have every opportunity of taking it this year. Now they're coming in at -260. The Philadelphia Flyers coming in at +210. Total is 5.5. -134 to the over and +110 to the under. Bobrovsky has been phenomenal in his career versus the Philadelphia Flyers. So I do think if this one stays under the total, it's because Bobrovsky could get a shutout in this game. In his career, he's allowed 2 or fewer goals over the last 11 starts. And in his career, he has just come out and been able to take all of the high danger shots the Flyers want to shoot at him. So I do like his ability in this one to stand tall in net. I do think he could get the shutout. This total of 5.5 is scary, though. I don't trust Urgent that much. And the Philadelphia Flyers have been playing way better than I expected. So I'm waiting kind of for the other shoe to drop. Now, they did lose that last one to the St. Louis Blues. It was in a shootout, 2-1 in their last game. This team is riding the best penalty kill in the league. That's coming in at 86.5%. But we look at the Florida Panthers, how strong their power play is. A power play converting at 26.5%. Fifth best overall in the league. Their kill is strong as well at 81.9. What I'm going to do here is, because I don't trust this full game total, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Flyers team total to the under. Now you're going to have to lay the juice, and I wish we weren't having to lay the juice here. I might even take this number down to under 2 for their team total and then get some positive money. But I think the under 2.5 is the best bet at -136. I just see them struggling to get the puck in the back of Bobrovsky's net. Like I said, phenomenally strong versus the Flyers. Last 11 starts, he's allowed 2 or less goals in all of those. Now, I do think there's a case to take the Panthers here on that puck line as well, laying the 1.5 goals. That's coming in at +105 earlier. It's now at -102. So we have lost some value, but you're still getting so much value at -102. Now, they haven't covered that puck line in their last, I believe, 4 at home. So they have had some struggles there. And I kind of got a feeling here the Philadelphia Flyers are going to keep selling. This game starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. Could we see someone be traded before this game kicks off? Absolutely. We've seen Walker gone from this team, Lafontaine and Nick. I'm drawing a blank on his last name. 2 of their defensemen are rumored to be on the trading block. So I do think the Flyers are sellers right now. Not something you would expect when this team is sitting third in the Metro with 72 points. This looks like a team that can make it into the playoffs and hold their own with what we've seen out of them coming out of the All-Star break. Now, the Panthers are sitting first in the Atlantic. They're the NHL's best team for points right now, sitting there with 90 points, looking for that President's Trophy. So this team is going to be strong, you guys. Don't discount the Florida Panthers. I hope the books do, so we get better value. Okay. Let's look at the next game here. We have the St. Louis Blues and the New Jersey Devils. Now, it doesn't sound like the best game, but I do think there's value in this game in some ways. Let's look at the side here. +140 for the St. Louis Blues, -170 for the New Jersey Devils. Total of 6.5. -114 to the under, and -106 to that over. If you're looking to take the New Jersey Devils on that puck line, laying 1.5 is going to give you +136. The St. Louis Blues, unless it's a parlay piece, and I still wouldn't do it. Plus the 1.5, so -160. I'm going to player prop this one. I'm really interested, though, in the St. Louis Blues team total. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to the window on this one. Team total over 2.5. It's juicy, though, at -132, and I think this is why I'm going to stay away from it. Nico Dawes and the New Jersey Devils have been struggling. So the Devils on the defensive side, offensively, I trust this team. We know Jack Hughes, Timo Meier, Tyler Toffoli. There's so many playmakers out there that can find the back of the net. I think they do struggle, though, here versus Jordan Binnington. Jordan Binnington is 5-2-0 in his career versus the Devils. I think you look at Jordan Binnington to have a phenomenal night. He's got a 2.83 goals against average on the season, a 912 save percentage. Taking his save shots on goal to that over is coming in at -108. And I absolutely love it. I think Jordan Binnington can do enough to go over 30.5. You look at the St. Louis Blues, and this defense is allowing him to be peppered out there. They're allowing an average of 32.5 shots on goal per game. He is going to do his best out there. And I really do believe he can go over this, especially when you look at the New Jersey Devils. They're averaging 32.1 shots on goal per game. This team knows if they want to win a game, it's normally in a high-scoring one. They've lost their last 3, and they lost that last one to the Panthers 5-3. So they were still able to put up 3 goals in that one. Problem is, like I said, goaltending and defensive wise. Jordan Binnington in net should be able to stand tall, even if the St. Louis Blues lose this one. Now, they're off that loss to the Islanders 4-2 on Tuesday. The last time these two teams met up, we did see the St. Louis Blues win in November 4-1, and they won the last 3 meetings. So could this team be barking here on the road? Absolutely, they could, and it's +140. Do I really want to jump into that? Not really. I think if I was going to play the St. Louis Blues in any way other than Jordan Binnington, that team total, even though you're laying the juice, it just seems like a gift, especially when you look at what the Devils have given up in the last 5 games, giving up 4 or more goals. So I've got to jump on that one. They've also failed to cover the puck line in their last 5 games at home and lost in that first period in their last 4 games. Yeah, I could see it going 3-3 into overtime as well. I think this is gonna be it's a coin flip. Who gets this win? The overtime you're gonna get, I think it was plus 380 earlier in the day. So I do think it's a solid look at that overtime as well, Derek. I like where you're going with that one. Okay. We have 2 teams battling it out for a wild card. We also have 2 teams with insanely phenomenal talented stars on their team. Yeah, Sidney Crosby versus Alex Ovechkin. A lot of people might not have this game circled, but I absolutely do. I'm so excited to see both of these superstars versus each other. Now, are they getting older and slowing down a little bit? People saying that about Ovechkin. Sid, I know you guys were talking about him costing you money without getting those goals. Let's look at the lines and what the books think. The books think the Penguins as the home favorite. They're minus 178. We have the Washington Capitals at plus 146 in total of 6.5. Now the juice is to the under at minus 130 and plus 106 to the over in this one. It's going to be an insane battle out there. I do think you look at the over 6.5. Again, the over 6.5 is plus 106. I can see this one being another one that has every opportunity of going to OT. 3-3 OT game. May just get you the value on overtime because off the top of my head, I can't remember. It's plus 360. So much value here for this one to go to overtime, especially when we look at the Washington Capitals. Darcy Kemper expected or confirmed in net tonight, 3.15 goals against average and an 8.93 save percentage. We haven't been able to trust Kemper out there. Jari, we can, though. I really like what we've seen out of Jari. He's got a 2.61 goals against average and a 910 save percentage. Now, this is a battle of the Metro. The Washington Capitals are actually ahead in the Metro, sitting 5th, and the Pittsburgh Penguins sitting here at 6th. The kill is strong for the Penguins. Power play not too strong here for the Capitals, but I still do think we'll have a game like we saw back in January. In January, the Washington Capitals won in Pittsburgh 4-3. I think it's the same here, just flip. Now, they did play back in October, and we saw the Pittsburgh Penguins win in October 4-0, getting that shutout win. Could Tristan Jarry get another shutout win, which causes us to stay under that total? Absolutely. But with how aggressive the offense has been playing for Washington as of late, I'm not seeing it. The concern is Oshie is on IR, so I hate that. But I do think it's hard to trust this defense here, the Washington Capitals as well. So as long as we see the Caps score some goals, and with how aggressive, like I said, they have been playing offensively, I think those goals are coming. Who's going to score the goals? Well, if we're having a battle of Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby, there is no way I'm not looking at both of those guys for their points or their goals tonight. I love the value you're getting on Alex Ovechkin for 2+ points in this one. That's coming in at plus 300. Sidney Crosby, 2+ points coming in at plus 148. So not as much value there. I do think both have a chance of hitting. Obviously, the book's thinking Sidney Crosby, they're limiting their risks a little bit more, has more of a chance of cashing in that one. So the Capitals sit 7 points out of a playoff position, and the Pittsburgh Penguins sit 8 points out of a playoff position. So these two teams are looking to get a win over each other here tonight in the Metro. It's going to be an absolute battle. Let's look at the next couple games on the ice here. We're still at the 7 p.m. Eastern mark, so we better hurry up. The Calgary Flames taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning is the next game up. This one kicking off again, like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern. Calgary, major sellers here. They're coming in at plus 132. This team has been playing some good hockey out there, but I think this is where it kind of comes to an end. The Tampa Bay Lightning rolling in at home at minus 160. And I have a lot of faith in the Lightning. I know a lot of people don't. I do think they're undervalued tonight. I can't get behind minus 160 on the money line. That puck line minus 1.5 at plus 150 is screaming at me, especially the more I look at it here doing this show with you guys. We have the total of 6.5. Now that 6.5 minus 114 to the under. I also think the Tampa Bay Lightning in regulation makes absolute sense in this one. That's coming in at minus 105. I'm going to put a half a unit on Tampa in reg, the other half on that puck line, because I do think that they can cover both. And the crazy thing is, if one doesn't hit, the other one's not going to hit, because you can't really cover the puck line in overtime. That's not going to happen. What else am I looking at in this one? I think the under 6.5 is in play. So it is scary taking that puck line. That's why I'm doing the half a unit on reg as well. Jacob Markstrom in net for Calgary. Now we know how strong he has been playing. 2.61 goals against average and a 912 save percentage. I think the frustration of Jacob Markstrom will show in this game. So many talks on if he's being traded or not. Jacob Markstrom not happy with how ownership and management are dealing with things over him. I know the New Jersey Devils were trying to target him. Will we see him move? I don't know. It seems like he's going to be the last to know, and he's frustrated with that out there. When we look at the Lightning, Andre Vasilevsky getting the start, 2.98 goals against average and an 8.96 save percentage. Fifth in the Atlantic, and Calgary sitting a 6. Connor Zari's out. We know one of Calgary's other players got suspended after that hit, which the guy shouldn't have stood there like he did. Anyway, that's another story. I'm looking at the Lightning. I think they can win. I think they can win in reg, and I also think that they can cover that puck line. So I'm going to take both of those. They've won their last 6 games at home off of overtime. They are off that overtime shootout win versus Montreal. Wasn't too impressed in that game, but I do think we'll see more out of them here versus Calgary. Now, Calgary they were rolling hot, then lost to the Seattle Kraken 4-2 in their last game out. What else about this one? Power play, super strong here for the Tampa Bay Lightning. The kill has been good, though, for Calgary. I'm going to look at Stamkos for the anytime goal. It's coming in at plus 195. And Kucherov for the anytime goal. You're not getting as much value with Kucherov, but he's been so phenomenally strong at plus 105. It's going to be a good one. Give me the under as well. I hate taking puck lines and unders, but I'm taking it. Under 6.5 minus 114. Puck line Tampa Bay Lightning minus 1.5 at plus 150. And Tampa in regulation. Next game on deck still. No, we're moving on to the 8 p.m. Eastern. The Buffalo Sabres taking on the Nashville Predators. Eric Crombie in net for the Buffalo Sabres and Saros here for the Predators. Now, Comrie, not good numbers here at 1-6-0 on the season, 3.87 goals against average and an 8.68 save percentage. Saros, on the other hand, strong numbers, 2.85 and a 907. So Nashville is the side I want to take, but let's see where we can find value here. The Nashville Predators are minus 160. Now, this has come down. So money is going in on Buffalo. They were minus 172-ish favorites in the morning when I first looked at these lines. Total of 6.5. Minus 115 to the under, minus 105 to the over. That puck line for the Nashville Predators plus 1.5 or minus 1.5 is plus 146. Plus 1.5 for the Buffalo Sabres is minus 176. So no value on the puck line for the Sabres. Obviously value on the puck line for the Predators. This team sitting 15-18 at home on that puck line, but the Nashville Predators have been solid on the road on that puck line, not really being blown out in a lot of these games until those games that get completely blown out. They've been 20-11 on the road. This is a second night of a back-to-back for the Buffalo Sabres. So they have covered the puck line in the last 9 versus the Predators, and the Predators won that last game. Super low scoring back in December. It just blew my mind. 2-1 win there. So 4-game road trip on deck for the Predators. That kicks off on Saturday. So they've got a day in between they get off for this road trip. I'm going to look at the Nashville Predators to come out hot out of the gate. I don't trust some full game puck line, although I think they probably blow out the Sabres at the end here. But that first period, I expect the best out of them. First period puck line laying a half a goals coming in at plus 138, and they have won the first period in their last 4 games at home as a favorite. So nice trend behind that, especially with the Buffalo Sabres on their second night of a back-to-back. Okay, next game on a deck, you guys, with the Minnesota Wild. They are taking on the Arizona Coyotes. Now the Wild minus 142. Only minus 142 here. That gives me huge question marks why they are such a short favorite, even here on the road. I expected minus 180. The Arizona Coyotes plus 118, total of 6.5. Now the 6.5, you're laying the juice to the under at minus 122. This feels like a trap game. It really does. We have the battle of the Central. Minnesota Wild sitting 6th in the Central. They've been hot out of the All-Star break, going 8-4-1. Marc-Andre Fleury in net for them. He's got solid numbers. He's got a 2.89 and a 900 save percentage. Vermalka has been confirmed for the Arizona Coyotes. 3.53 goals against average and an 8.93. The Wild are off that win versus the Sharks. The Sharks, Yeah, the Sharks just had their number in that one. The goaltender in for the Sharks had been drafted by the Minnesota Wild, or he started with the Wild and then came back. That was his first time back. So he had a phenomenal night. The Sharks really stepped up. The Sharks have stepped up in some of these games. Arizona won the last matchup, covered the puck line 3-1. But the Coyotes have won the 3 prior matchups to that last one in February. So I do think there's an opportunity for the Arizona Coyotes, a home dog here, especially when you look at the look ahead situation. I can't get behind the Wild, okay? I'm not touching them. This is the first night of a back-to-back. The Colorado Avalanche are on deck. Like I mentioned, the Wild are 6 in the Central. Well, the Avs are sitting 3rd in the Central. The Wild want this win versus the Avs. First night of a back-to-back for the Arizona Coyotes. They have the Red Wings on deck. It doesn't matter. This team has lost their last 6 at home. They've lost the first period in their last 6 at home. They have been struggling. And the Wild, Kaprizov, phenomenal game. Had a hat trick in that game versus the Sharks. You can look at him for the anytime goal at plus 105. Can he come out and score on Arizona? Absolutely. I think this is a player prop game all day. Matt Boldy here for the Minnesota Wild as well at plus 135. Now, you've also got to look at what is going to happen for the Arizona Coyotes? Who's going to get on the scoreboard? Marc-Andre Fleury has solid numbers, but someone I don't think he's getting the shutout tonight. So Logan Cooley and Clayton Keller, those are my guys that I circle. I think this one goes over the 6.5. Both of these teams have had terrible kills as of late. Whoever stays out of the box can win this game. There's just been a complete lack of discipline out there. So I don't like what I've seen out of either of them. I do think both of these teams can score on that power play. So this should be a good one. Look at the player props in it. Okay. The Vancouver Canucks take on the Vegas Golden Knights. This should be the game of the night. Now, you guys all heard Noah Hanifin has been traded from Calgary to Vegas, and Vegas keeps, I don't even know how it works. I keep getting all of these incredible players. What about the cap? There's so many question marks about Vegas. I heard Flyers are in on part of this deal, paying something for Hanifin, even though he's playing for Vegas. I don't even know. So much to unpack in this trade, and it took hours and hours last night for us to even hear more details on what Calgary was getting for Noah Hanifin. But he has gone to the Vegas Golden Knights, and the Vegas Golden Knights looking to stack here with Mark Stone. They put him on long-term IR, which is another thing these teams do for the salary cap, putting guys on long-term because then they don't have to count stuff. It's really interesting. They also added a left winger from the Washington Capitals, Anthony Mantha. So he's huge. He's 6'5" out there on the ice. He's a big, huge guy, 200 and almost 40 pounds, I believe. He's going to add some toughness out there that Vegas really is lacking. Now, this total of 5.5, I tell you, I got to take it over. Elias Lindholm of Vancouver. We know he came from Calgary. So he is now rumored to maybe be going to Boston. Poor Elias Lindholm. I don't know what is happening in Vancouver that they don't like him. He came out. He was so impactful in that first game. And then Vancouver has absolutely struggled ever since. So something isn't meshing with Elias Lindholm, with the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver is playing the better hockey right now, though. This is my problem. Vegas is struggling. Noah Hanifin, he's not going to start tonight. He just got traded last night. I don't even know if he's in Vegas right now. Vegas won the last matchup. It was 4-1. They've also won 6 of the last 10. So to hit Vancouver, scary, but I do think they can get this win tonight. Demko has been leaky, though, so Adin Hill has been a heck of a lot stronger. If Vancouver wins this, it has to go over 5.5, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the over 5.5. I might put a little bit of money on Vancouver. I don't even think you need to. I think you just look at the total and take it to the over. It is going to be a fantastic game out there, you guys. Let's look at the last couple of games here on deck. The next one we have, let me just pull up my lines here on FanDuel. The LA Kings are in action tonight. If I can move my screen over. The Ottawa Senators and the LA Kings. Now the Sens are in full sell-off mode. Are they going to get rid of Brady Tkachuk and players like that? Probably not. But this team is done. This team is ready to go packing. I really do believe it. I don't think we're going to see the Senators win a heck of a lot down the stretch here. I think this becomes a situation where if they win it, it's because the opponent they're playing against is in a look ahead situation, or the Sens, one of their players really steps up. Overall, I think they're going to struggle from here on out. Plus 158 here on them on the money line, minus 192 for the LA Kings. Now, total of 6.5, minus 134 to the under, plus 110 to the over. Looking at this, Korpisalo, what is going to happen to Korpisalo at the trade deadline is a huge question mark for me. I had so much faith in Korpisalo. Will he play better with a different team? Absolutely, he could. I liked him last season. Korpisalo this season, he's been a sieve. He's been letting in the beach balls. He's got a 3.41 goals against average at 887 save percentage. Is it because he's not getting the protection from the defense? No, the defense is still limiting opponents to 29.8. Now, I know that is a lot more than a team like the Carolina Hurricanes who give that protection. We also saw, it's like Darcy Kemper when he was with Colorado. He had such stronger numbers because he got that protection. Now he's with Washington. He's got over a 3.58 goals against average. So looking at goaltenders, they need more support from their defenses, and goaltenders like Korpisalo. That is a huge advantage for the LA Kings tonight. They've got Cam Talbot in net. Cam Talbot's been absolutely hot as of late. The month of February, lights out. He's got a 2.45 goals against average and a 916 save percentage. The Kings are the side for me in this one. So those lines, again, LA Kings minus 192. That puck line minus 1.5 is coming in at plus 130. That is where I'm going to go. It is a puck line here for the LA Kings. We're actually getting a little bit more value. The books have shifted in the way of more value here. They were plus 126 when I got it earlier in the day. Plus 130 you're getting. This is the second night of a back-to-back here for the Ottawa Senators. They lost last night to the Anaheim Ducks, and then you want me to take I'm not touching this team. Now the Kings are coming off that loss versus Vancouver in OT on Tuesday, 2-1. They won the matchup versus the Senators in November, 3-2. Kempe is still out for this team, but then you look at the Sens. Who's getting out there on the ice today? We know Josh Norris is on IR. Vladimir Tarasenko got shipped off to Florida. Shabbat is now listed as day-to-day. They are selling, and they're going to sell up until tomorrow when this trade deadline finishes. So they haven't covered the puck line in their last 6 games either. They're sitting 12-15 on the road on the puck line, and Kings don't have a great home puck line record, but against the Senators team, give me the puck line. Okay. The late game of the night, we had the New York Islanders taking on the San Jose Sharks. Now, the Sharks have been sneaky. I really wish in that last game versus Dallas, I took them plus a 1.5. I was kicking myself for not doing so. I just stayed off that game. But it's plus 145 here for the Sharks on the money line. Minus 310 if you think the New York Islanders are the right side. You can't take that on the money line, but that puck line minus 1.5 at minus 118. You have a total of 6.5, minus 134 to the under, and plus 110 to the over. Or to the over. It's always weird when I see an over, and especially when it's including the defense has been leaky for the Islanders on the road. We know that. Patrick was trying to clean it up. But we did see the Sharks win the last matchup, you guys. They won it in December 5-4. They have a goaltender starting. Now, Magnus Sharona will be getting the start tonight. He's played a couple games already this season, and he's been actually really strong in those 3 games. He had an overtime loss versus the Dallas Stars. He stopped 36 of 38 shots on goal. That was that last game that they played. Now, when you look at him in some of the other games this season, only 3, so not much to write home about, but he has really stepped up in those games, limited the ability for the opponents to get the goals. So with the Sharks losing their last 8, is there value on them here to get the win? Absolutely. Can I stomach it? I can't. Sorokin in net for the New York Islanders. I like what we've seen out of this Islanders team as of late. They've won their last 4. They're sitting 4th in the Metro. They've won and covered the puck line in the 2 prior meetings to this last one in December, where the Sharks were able to get the win. So I do think it's the Islanders. For me, I'm going to look at the Islanders team total over 3.5 at minus 140. It's a lot of juice to lay on a goaltender that has been pretty solid, but I like what we've seen out of the Islanders. One thing you could look at instead, and I do have confidence in that puck line cover. The Sharks have played in so many tight overtime games as of late. I don't see them having the legs to continue to do it again, especially against this Islanders team who is really stepping up offensively, averaging 30.2 shots on goal per game. Their power play converting at 22.6%. And their kill, well, their kill is non-existent, but so is the Sharks. Both of these teams have the worst penalty kills in the league. The New York Islanders, I never would have guessed that they were the worst until you find out they're the worst. 71.8% kill rate, only the kill rate for the Sharks at 73.9. That's a huge difference, and that's 31st and 32nd in the league. You can look at the Sharks team total over 2.5. I was flirting with trying to take that, but I do have faith in Sorokin. Sorokin, while his numbers don't sound great, he's so elite out there in net. Islanders on the puck line laying 1.5 is coming in at -108. It's that or their team total over 3.5. It's just juicy at -140, but I do like both of those. Bo Horvat here for that anytime goal. And I do think you just can take this full game over because we know the San Jose Sharks have proven they can score. If they get 2, the Islanders get 4. Well, that puts us at 6, so that we lose by the hook in that case. Can we see an empty netter for the Islanders? We absolutely could. +110 to the over. I'm more confident just in the New York Islanders team total over 3.5. You guys, kids in Vegas for the game. Oh, happy birthday to your kids. That's for sure. Your son-in-law's birthday. Well, happy birthday, Lesman, to your son-in-law. I hope he has an absolutely wonderful time. What a better way to spend your birthday than being at the Vegas Golden Knights game. That's for sure. And the Canucks. You don't want to jinx the Canucks. I see you. Well, big happy birthday to him. You guys, that's it. Thank you so much for joining me here for Puck It with Jo on SportsGrid Network. I will be live on Game Time Decisions at 6:40, so make sure you come over and join. KW, you are so welcome. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here every single day, seeing the numbers go up on how many people are sitting here watching and listening to what I am liking. It's amazing. So you guys, thank you for everything that you do. If you can hit that like, hit that retweet button, really appreciate it. Just helps with more people being able to see the show. Let's make some freaking money tonight. We will have a Puck It with Jo tomorrow. How many games? I think tomorrow's light, right? I'm just pulling up tomorrow's schedule. Tomorrow, only 4 games, so we go from 12 down to 4, but don't worry, Saturday will be completely loaded. Make sure you turn on those notifications because who knows what time we go live on Saturday. We'll be early to make sure you guys get those picks before those first games come out. If not, that Puck It Cup of Jo will come out first thing in the morning. But you guys, I appreciate you. We will see you for 3:30. No, 5:30 Eastern tomorrow, but on Game Time Decisions at 6:40. Bye, guys.